Welcome to ADM College for Women Autonomous Nagapattinam. I am Dr. N. Sampath Lakshmi, HOD of Commerce, Postgraduate Department and Research Department. Today, I am presenting the topic on selection and formulation of a research problem. When we define a problem, it is a question to be examined. So we have to identify a problem, then we have to find solutions for the problem. So finding a problem itself is a difficult task. It is not easy to find out a problem. But the problem is around us. When we open our eyes, we can get lot of problems. There may be a political problem, there may be economic problem, or it may be a social problem or psychological problem. Lot of problems are there around us. So we have to be very keen in selecting and formulating a research problem. So it requires vision, imaginative insight and research bent on the part of the researcher. So once the problem is selected and formulated, half of the work of the researcher is over. So it is the first and foremost part in research. It plays an important role in research. The nature of the problem to be selected also depends upon the individual. For example, an academic personnel may select a topic for a research by himself, or it may be sponsored by a government agency or by authority or by local municipality and so on. But it also depends upon the level at which the research is to be done. The level means whether at the UG level or PG level or at the doctorate level, the researcher is going to pursue the research. If it is at the UG level or PG level, it may be a simple one. It doesn't be a complex problem. But on the other hand, if the researcher wants to pursue research at the doctoral level or postdoctoral level, the problem must be a complex one. So it depends upon the level at which the research is to be done, and it also depends upon whether it is selected by the individual himself or by the guide. But when the problem is selected by the individual by himself, it is very innovative and he is very curious in analyzing and studying the problem. But on the other hand, if it is suggested by the guide, it may be a monotonous one, and on the other hand, he may not have interest in having the research. So it is better to select the problem by himself. Then let us analyze the sources of problems. We can get the following sources for studying the problem. We can get the problem from reading, or by academic experience, or from daily experience, or by exposure to social situations or field situations, consultations, brainstorming, and by doing research, and by also intuition we can get the problems. That is by reading critical books, journals, magazines, papers, dailies, articles, we can get lot of problems. By reading only, we are able to know what is happening around us. When we read the papers, we are able to know the daily situation in and around us. And also by reading the reports of different agencies, of different government authorities, as well as documents. When we read all these things, we are able to get the sources for problems. And by academic experience also we can get lot of problems. That is in the classroom experience, that is we can have these field situations or by giving assignments or by conducting tests or by contacting the students, and we can get lot of problems. And in the case of daily experience, we are meeting lot of people around us. We interact with lot of persons. So when we interact with lot of persons, we are able to get ideas about research. So it is an eye opener for research, and it is one of the major source of getting the problems. Then next one is exposure to field situations. That is, we are undertaking the internship study or field study, and a number of studies we are undertaking, and by going to the field, we are able to contact persons face to face. We are facing the real life situations. When we are facing the real life situations, we are getting lot of exposure and we get ideas for problems. Then consultations. Consultation is very important source of a problem. We are consulting lot of academicians, consulting researchers and even students and experienced persons. When we are discussing with them and we are consulting, we can get lot of ideas. Then brainstorming. Brainstorming plays an important role in selecting the problem. When we discuss with a very qualified as well as experienced persons who are doing research, we can have intensified discussions which are called intensive or deep discussions. We can have the discussions with those persons and after discussion we will come out with lot of ideas. So those ideas will also form a base for research problem. Then by doing the research also, that is previous research, it will also lend ideas for problems. Then intuition. Apart from all these things, not the least, the intuition of a person it will also give sources for problems. Then let us now see how to identify the problem. It involves three major steps: selection of the discipline, demarcating the broad area or a particular subject, and identifying two or more specific topics in the selected broad area. I will explain in detail. Selection of the discipline means we can't go for the research as such. So first of all we have to go for a broader area. The broader area in the sense we can go for example marketing field or financial management or business law or company secretarial practice or that is banking theory law and practice or financial accounting, corporate accounting. So that way we have to decide the discipline first of all. Then only we can go for the demarcating a smaller area and then identifying two or three small topics. So first of all we have to go for a large discipline. So in this case, for example, here we will take marketing. So here we have selected the discipline called marketing. So this is the first step in the process of identification. Next one, demarcating the broad area or a particular aspect of the selected subject. So in marketing, we have lot of areas. For example, we got mixes of marketing, product, price, promotion, place, etc. And we got functions of marketing called buying, selling, assembling, transportation, storage, warehousing, finance, risk taking. So a lot of functions, a lot of areas are there. So here we will select one area. For example, here we want to select product. We take one mix, product planning and development or product mix we take. So that is what is called demarcating the broad area on a particular aspect. Again, third one, identifying two or more specific topics. So okay, in product we got a lot of topics are there, but we have to select one or two topics only for our reference. For it may be a product planning and development, or stages involved in product planning and development, or product life cycle, or product line, or product strategies. Okay, so in that way we have to select the topic. So these are the three steps involved in identification of process. Then we have to see how to select. It involves selection criteria. Two factors are there. One is internal factors, another one is external factors. In the internal factors we got interest of the researcher, researcher's competence and researcher's own resources, that is finance and time. That is, for example, when we select the problem, interest of the researcher is very important. If he is not at all interested, his attitude is very important for doing the research or pursuing the research. If the researcher is not having any interest or any attitude or aptitude for the research, he can't do the research. So it is one of the very important factor which is coming under internal criteria. Then competence, that is the efficiency as well as the enthusiasm of the researcher, intellectual capacity of the researcher is also very important so that he can proceed. Then his own finance and time. He should have enough money, he should have enough time also. Then only the researcher can select the topic. So these are coming under the factors internal. Next one, external factors. Here we got researchability of the problem. Researchability in the sense the problem should lend itself for a researcher. If we are not able to research a problem, if it is beyond the scope, then we can't research. So it should be within the scope, that is called researchability of a problem. Then importance and urgency. It should have some social relevance or social significance and importance. If it is of not important from the social point of view or societal point of view, it is of not useful. So it should have the relevance, and it should also have the urgency. There should be some urgency for doing the research work also. And novelty in the sense it should be a new one. It should not be a old wine in a new bottle. It should be a new one. That is what is called the novelty of the problem. And feasibility in the sense that we should be able to pursue the problem from other angles. If we are not able to pursue the problem, if we are not able to follow the research work, it is not able to conduct the research. So it should be feasible. The next one is facilities. Facilities should be available for the researcher from any point of view. For example, men or materials or machines or finance or time, everything should be available. External factors should also be available for the researcher. For example, when he want to go for data collection, he should have the enough facilities. Or when he is able to going for drawing the conclusions or inferences and so on, facilities should be available for the researcher. And social relevance. As I told you already, socially it should be relevant. If it is not relevant, if it is fit for the society, it is of no use in conducting the problem. So these are the selection criteria, namely the internal as well as external factors. Then formulation of the selected problem. Formulation of the selected problem means translating and transforming the selected research problem into a scientifically researchable question. So here we have to answer the questions, two questions, namely what and why aspect. What should be done and why it should be done. So the researcher should be able to answer these two questions in detail or in depth. What is the problem? Why we are undertaking the problem? So we have to answer these questions in detail. What is the problem and why it should be done? Here we have to formulate three components. One is originating questions, that is what one wants to know. Actually, by doing the researcher and after the research, what one wants to know. What is the destination for the problem? That is what is called originating questions. And rational means why wants to know. What is the motive? What is the idea? What is the intention behind doing the problem? It may be a problem which is suggested by the individual himself, or it may be sponsored by the government and so on, and why it is done actually. That is what is called rational. Then specifying questions, that is possible answers to the originating questions. So different sub questions are there. For example, what is the age, what is the sex, what is the income, what is the marital status. So a lot of questions are there. So these questions are going to supplement the originating questions. Here, the following steps are involved in the formulation of a research problem. Number one, developing title. Next one, building a conceptual model. Then, defining the objectives of the study. Then, setting investigative questions. Then, formulation of hypothesis. Operational definition of concepts. Then, delimiting the scope of the study. So, developing the title is the first step in the formulation of a research problem. So, title in the sense we have to choose the correct title. So, for this one, first of all, we have to go for a subject, then we have to go for certain areas, then again we have to go for 2 or 3 titles or 2 or 3 subtitles in the research problem. So, then only we are able to identify and we are able to formulate the title. So, title selection is very important. Usually the researchers say when the title is selected or when this title is formulated, nearly more than 50% of the work of the researcher will be over. So we can have lot of time, we can spend lot of time in developing the title or in choosing the title. So selection of the title is the first step in the formulation of the research process. Next one is conceptual model. Conceptual model designs, we can have the interrelations should be studied. and the conceptual model given gives an exact idea of the research problem and shows in various properties and variables to be studied. It serves as a basis for the formulation of the objectives of the study and the hypothesis to be tested. So it is also very important. And the next one, defining the objectives of the study. Objectives in the sense what we are going to see in the research. So here we can have 2 objectives or 3 objectives. At the most in the UG level or PG level we can have 4 objectives. In the doctoral level we can have 7 to 8 objectives. So objectives is the main basis for formulation of research problem. The objectives refer to the questions to be answered through the study. And the objectives aim at description or explanation or analysis of the causal relationship between variables and indicate the explained results or outcome of the study. Objectives may be specified in the form of either statements or questions. So objectives may be in the form of statements or in the form of questions. For example, the title of the research problem, an inquiry into the declining trend of the profitability of a bank, and so on. And investigative questions. Here we are going to frame investigative questions. For example, what is the composition of earning assets? What is the rate of yield on each type of asset? As the number of employees tended to increase, what is the salary structure? So on. So we can have lot of supportive questions also. And hypothesis. Hypothesis means a tentative generalization remains to be tested. What is called hypothesis? So we can have hypothesis and definition of concepts. We have to define the concepts from our point of view. In any study we have a lot of concepts and from our point of view what definition we give for the concepts. It is called operational definition of the concepts. And next one, delimiting the scope of the study. And for any study we have got number of limitations or we got a scope. That is what is called delimiting the scope of that study. Delimiting the scope of the study may be from the point of view of area, geographical area, or from the point of view of finance, or from study period. For anything it may be, for example, if you are conducting the study in one geographical area, it may not be applicable to the other area. So a number of things are there. So in our study we have to define or we have to put the limitation of the study also. So these are the steps involved in the formulation process. So far we have discussed what is a research problem and how to select a research problem and how to formulate a research problem. Thank you.